Earlier today, combat sports reporter Kevin Iole dropped an interview with UFC president Dana White, and Kevin Iole brutally confronted Dana White on Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. And not only did he brutally confront Dana White on that, and we're going to take a look at it here in a second, he confronted him on a litany of topics. We're talking the flag scenario from UFC 304. We're talking the antitrust lawsuit. We're talking the Sphere tickets. There's so many videos that I could make just spawning off this interview alone, but we're going to break down Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic and some of the things that Dana White said that were downright delusional. But this was a gem of an interview. I mean, truly, I'm not kidding. This may have been the best Dana White interview I have seen since I've watched the sport. So I highly recommend you go check it out. I may make other videos that have some elements of this interview in it, but I highly encourage you to go check out the full thing. I will link it down in the description. Let's jump right into it because we got a lot to watch. Because usually I just clip out the segments that are super important. Everything's important here. And I want to include Kevin Iole's questions because Kevin Iole was really pushing back at Dana in a respectful manner. But it was so beautiful to watch. And I'm being dead serious from the bottom of my heart for all MMA fans. I just appreciate Kevin Iole so much here. I'm being dead serious. Maybe you'll see the video, maybe you won't. I appreciate this interview so much. And I want to make sure to highlight his channel. In case for some reason you don't know how to spell his name. Guys, if you're watching this video, he used to work for Yahoo Sports. He left Yahoo Sports for whatever reason. This is his channel. Go check it out. Again, I'll have the full interview link down below. But he really, I mean, he came out the gate swinging. At this point, after watching this interview, I'm wondering if Kevin Iole, there's something, you know, he has some type of medical issue and he doesn't have long because he really hammered Dana over and over and over again. And I'm not kidding. I'm not being sarcastic. Hard-hitting question after hard-hitting question. And then Dana White would respond, and then Kevin Iole would push back. It was incredible to watch. So let's jump right into it. We're going to watch a full exchange. This first exchange we're going to watch is like 5 minutes long. It's literally 5 minutes long. So let's just jump right into it.
So that's where I want to start with you. You know, I wrote a column after the fight. I know you're adamant that Jon Jones is going to fight Stipe Miocic. And I
Look at Dana's face.
I agree with the argument that people say Stipe is the greatest heavyweight of all time. But he hasn't fought in 3 years. He's coming off a loss, and he hasn't won in 4 years. So how does that qualify him for a shot at the heavyweight title?
I could kiss Kevin Iole's bald head. How long have I been saying this? I mean, Stipe has not gotten a win since August of 2020. August of 2020. In his last fight, which was over 3 years ago, he got flatlined by Francis Ngannou. How does that qualify him for a title shot? Dana goes on to justify it here, and we're going to break it down as we go, but beautiful question by Kevin Iole.
Well, this title fight was supposed to happen a long time ago. You know, all the things that happened from injuries to whatever else they got in the way. I just think, I feel, you know, you got two sides of the coin. You got everybody talking about, oh, Dana doesn't respect this guy and he doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. I'm showing both of these guys the respect. They want to fight each other.
So basically the answer is they want to fight each other. But then he goes on to a whole rant and raving about Jones and Stipe and
a fight that they both want to happen. Total respect fight. I think they both deserve it. And, you know, at the end of the day, I get it. Everybody wants to see Tom Aspinall, but let me tell you what, after Stipe and Jon fight, whoever wins, the Aspinall fight's even bigger.
That's true. That's true, Dana. But it's like nobody wants to see this shit. Nobody wants to see it. Oh, this fight was supposed to happen a long time ago. He acts like it was scheduled 3 years ago. It was scheduled like, what, 11 months ago? Right? No, November. So 9 months ago it was scheduled. It shouldn't have happened even then. Remember, the initial talk was July of 2023. It's now almost the end of 2024. It's August 2024. By the time it happens, November 2024. Nobody wants to see it. They want to see Tom Aspinall because you have an interim title on the line, and Tom Aspinall looks like a new breed.
But then you know the next question, which is going to be, of course, you know, Jon has hinted quite a bit at retirement. And Stipe flat out said, I don't want to fight anybody else but Jon Jones, right?
Stipe's 100% going to retire after this fight.
Massive news right there. We already knew that, but hearing Dana say that is massive. Listen to this again because Kevin's kind of talking when Dana jumps in.
Retirement. And Stipe flat out said, I don't want to fight anybody else but Jon Jones, right?
Stipe's 100% going to retire after this fight.
So Stipe's 100% retiring after this fight. He's going to go answer phones at the fire department or continue to do that.
And then, listen, Jon Jones, I've said this, you know how I talk about Jon Jones and what I think of Jon Jones as a fighter. Jon Jones always loves to challenge himself. Moved up to heavyweight. I don't know what Jon Jones will do after this fight, but I would be shocked if he didn't want to test himself against Aspinall.
Right.
He'd be shocked. This is Dana trying to just pacify the fans, trying to pacify Kevin. Well, I'm sure he's going to fight Tom Aspinall anyway, when he knows damn well most likely that's not going to happen. I hope that it does. And God forbid Stipe Miocic somehow beats Jon Jones. I know people said that would be funny. I guarantee you right now there will be a rematch if Stipe wins. Dana will say, oh, he's pound for pound. He's never lost. The one loss to Matt Hamill was a incompetent referee, and 12 to 6 elbows are legal now. We're going to do a rematch. Of course we're going to give him a rematch. So think about it. We could be talking about Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic for another year and a half potentially if Stipe somehow wins.
Now listen, everything that I've been saying, right? These are fucking facts. These are facts. It's not like me and Jon Jones have this unbelievable relationship like I have with Ronda and Chuck Liddell and Connor and some of these people that have fought in the past, right? Yeah. We know this is not the case. What I am saying about Jon Jones is undebatable.
It is very debatable, and luckily Kevin Iole presses him because he's about to go on a whole rant and rave about Jones being pound for pound number one, and the UFC rankings are an absolute disgrace, and nobody knows what they're talking about. I thought really he was going to be like, Jon Jones has got a dark side to him. He's got 2 German Shepherds. He owns guns. He smacks spray paint cans at a teenager's hands during unrest, civil unrest. He's a real badass. I thought he was going to get into that. Unfortunately, he didn't.
Undebatable what this guy has accomplished in his career, right? And if he beats Stipe and he comes out and fights Tom Aspinall and beats him, it's already undeniable. Nobody, don't care how much you dislike Jon Jones for what he's done or what he's done. This isn't about personally who is Jon Jones and do you like him. We're talking about the baddest dude to ever walk the face of the earth in combat sports already. If he goes out and beats Tom Aspinall.
All right, I agree with that. That's him promoting the fight. I thought he was getting into something else. That's true. If he beats Stipe, he beats Tom Aspinall, it's undeniable. He's already the GOAT. But where he loses me is when he gets to the pound for pound, and luckily Kevin Iole pushes back.
He cements his legacy as the greatest fighter of all time.
Well, let me say this to you because I sent you the video that I did after UFC 303, so I know you know what I'm going to ask you. But some people, didn't see that, and I know an interview with you, a lot more people are going to watch. And my argument was, hey, I agree with you. I think Jones is the greatest fighter of all time, no doubt. And if he had a fight, I have a rule when I say if you haven't fought in a year unless you have a fight scheduled, I don't include you in pound for pound because it's for active guys. The minute Jon fights.
Exactly. It's for active guys. Jon Jones has one fight since February of 2020 when he fought Dom Reyes. One fight since then. 53 months, one fight. And this is when Dana really flies off the rails.
He goes back into the list, right? But given that he's not fighting, is that fair where other guys are going out there and competing?
Jon Jones is ranked number 3 pound for pound in the world.
Fighting UFC.
Most fucking ridiculous, embarrassing, stupid, know nothing about fucking fighting ranking of all fucking time.
I know I've already broken this down, so apologies to the people who've already heard this rant. Jon Jones has one win since February of 2020. It's against Cyril Gane, who was on a 1-fight winning streak. I'm going off the top of my head here. 1-fight winning streak. Cyril Gane was not ranked pound for pound, okay, when he beat him. Islam Makhachev, crazy win streak. 3 wins before the Dustin Poirier fight. 3 wins. Number 3 pound for pound, number 1 pound for pound, and number 2 pound for pound. He's not only being active, I forgot exactly how many fights he has since Jon Jones last fought, or not since Jon Jones last fought, in that same time span since 2020, but he's active fighting guys. I think it's ludicrous Jones is even number 3. I could sit here and make the case Bilal deserves to be pound for pound over top Jon Jones. So this attitude that Jones deserves to be pound for pound, it's a joke. It matters if you're active or not. Again, 1 fight, and that was a year ago, March of 2023, over a year and a half ago already. And that was his only fight since February 2020 after he defeated Dominic Reyes.
Jon Jones is still an active fighter.
Do I even need to touch that? Jon Jones is still an active fighter? Dana, you need to get a dictionary immediately and look up the word active.
He beat Cyril Gahn. He got injured. He was supposed to fight. He's going to fight again in November. Jon Jones is the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world, period, end of story. Whoever, whether you want to call,
Kevin Ioley's like, this is getting good. This is getting good. He's cooking up his response right now. Look at these eyes. Look at it. He heard Jon Jones is an active fighter, and he just lost it.
Islam, Pereira, number 2, number 3, all good. To have anybody above Jon Jones right now just goes to show that you know absolutely fucking nothing about combat.
Look at that shit-eating grin right here. Because Kevin Ioley's saying he's not pound for pound. So Dana's sitting here insulting him, and Kevin Ioley's like, the facts are on my side here. The facts are on my side. And just listen to this.
That's sports and fighting. Number 1. Number 2, the other thing about Jon Jones, when you talk about inactivity, any fighter in the history of fighting, including the god, who you consider a god and I consider a god, Muhammad Ali, was never the same again after his 3-year layoff, right? And Muhammad Ali wasn't doing bad things to himself,
right?
Like Jon Jones was.
I don't like the way he phrased that, doing bad things to himself, but this is the whole Dana rant. We've seen it before. Well, Jon Jones took 3 years off and came back and beat Cyril Gahn. That doesn't make you pound for pound. That's a year and a half ago, bro.
Yeah.
And Jon Jones comes back and looks even better. It's undebatable.
It is very debatable because it's 1 fight in 4. I'm sorry for repeating myself, guys. I truly am sorry. This drives me up a fucking wall. I want to jump through the screen and choke Dana. It makes no sense. He's conflating pound for pound and GOAT. Jon Jones, undebatable, undeniable GOAT status. He is not pound for pound number 1 because he has 1 more fight in the last 53 months than me. 1 more win in the UFC in the last 53 months than me. And now he's fighting a guy who hasn't won a fight in 4 fucking years. And you're arguing that he's pound for pound number 1 when you have guys like Islam Makhachev, you have guys like Pereira, you have guys like Bilal Muhammad. And the list goes on and on. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. He's not active.
Undebatable. Anybody who even tries to debate this with me, you're just hating on Jon Jones and you don't like him as a person. And I get it, but it's not about whether you like him or don't like him or whatever. It's about based on facts and what he's done in his career.
It's not based on facts. GOAT status is determined by what you did in your career. You can't be pound for pound being as inactive as Jon Jones.
I'm going to move on because there's a lot of questions and not a lot of
time.
Get him,
Kevin.
I don't hate Jon Jones, and I agree with you. The only disagreement we have is that he hasn't been active in 15 months, and he's fought 1 time in 4+ years.
Why wasn't? If he's just sitting around, spending money.
But that's why you have interim champions, isn't it?
Why wasn't he? Well, for the last 15 months, he's had a pec torn. What does that have to do with the 3 years prior to that? Oh, yeah, Dana, you were trying to negotiate him to a new contract, and you were saying, well, yeah, we're not paying him. We don't want to pay him Deontay Wilder money. And now look at the way you're hyping him up. Look at the way you're riding out with him. He's not worth $20 million or $30 million or whatever Dana White said. He's not worth that. That's what he wants, even though Jon Jones says that's not even what he asked for. But now you're acting like he's the Kobe Bryant of the UFC. The Tom Brady of the UFC. But you weren't willing to pay him like that. You weren't willing to pay him like that. Why was he inactive? Like, being dead serious, that's just such a dishonest argument. Why wasn't he active? Well, it was contract negotiations then combined with an injury. But at the end of the day, he's not fighting. How do you rank him in the pound for pound? He's saying, yeah, if you're not ranking him in the pound for pound number one, you just don't like him. Well, what are you going to take away the rankings from the media now? Luckily, Kevin Iole pushes back. Shout out to him for that.
Is that why you have the interim champion?
But he was training, and he got injured. He was trying to fight. It's not like he's not trying. Listen, if Jon Jones is just fucking hanging out and doesn't want to fight, I would agree with you 100%. That's not the case.
Okay. I mean, you have an interim champion. You made an interim champion. Jon Jones sat out for 3 years before he finally came back. Now he's out for 15 months. At this point, you honestly should have stripped him of the belt. Stripped him of the belt, make Tom Aspinall undisputed champion, have Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic fight each other. End of story, legacy fight, whatever you want to say. But again, you know, when you think it just got as unhinged and delusional as possible, Dana decides to make it even worse. Listen to this next clip where he's asked about Tom Aspinall, and he's asked, what is Aspinall's future? You know, what does it look like? Can he be the guy? And Dana goes on this rant, kind of acting like Aspinall's done nothing. I mean, this is craziness. This is ludicrous.
There's no doubt. I mean, this guy is a scary dude, and he looks like the future of the heavyweight division, right? But at the same time, he's working his way up. He's climbing up the ladder, and everybody's like, he deserves this, and he deserves that, and
he's working his way up. I mean, you gave him an interim belt. You put it on the line against Sergey Pavlovich, who was one of the scariest heavyweights in the division. He went out there and flatlined him. Then you asked him to defend his belt against Curtis Blades, and he flatlined him. Okay, he didn't flatline him, but he finished him early. At this point, I mean, at the heavyweight divisions, in terms of how win streaks go, I mean, how many title defenses does Stipe have? When he was champ, he's considered the greatest. 1, 2, 3. He had 3 heavyweight title defenses in a row. Then he lost to Daniel Cormier. Then he won it back, and then he defended it one time. So to sit here and act like it's not like even if Stipe had been out and had been the champion prior and like got stripped of the belt or vacated the belt, okay, I understand. But Stipe had 2 more title defenses in a row than what Aspinall has now. It's not like the heavyweight division has some champion who defended their belt 6, 8 times. Stipe defended his belt 3 consecutive times. Alistair Overeem, Junior Dos Santos, Francis Ngannou lost it to Daniel Cormier, gained it back against Daniel Cormier, defended it again, and then lost it to Francis Ngannou. Got folded like a lawn chair. And here is Dana acting like, I mean, it's just beyond dumb. And he's acting like, and I'm going to rewind it a little bit, he's acting like Aspinall hasn't done anything. I'm going to rewind this a little bit so we can hear it from the beginning.
He's working his way up. He's climbing up the ladder, and everybody's like, he deserves this, and he deserves that, and he doesn't deserve anything. He looks great, and he looks like he's going to be the guy. You got Stipe and Jon, who have paid their dues. They've been here forever. They fought everybody. They fought all the fights that you could possibly fight. These guys deserve to fight each other.
How can you say Tom Aspinall doesn't deserve anything? He's working his way up. I mean, these are ludicrous comments. Tom Aspinall has 1 loss in the UFC, and it was a fluke loss to Curtis Blades where he got injured in the first, 20 seconds. He stepped in on short notice against Sergey Pavlovich. He brutalized Curtis Blades, defending his interim title in a very rare case of defending an interim title. I've been one to say I even think Aspinall is getting a little bit overhyped a little bit overrated. But at the end of the day, you can't deny that this is supposed to be an organization where the best fight the best. Jon Jones should be fighting Tom Aspinall. That's not up for debate at all. Now, he also gets into, he's asked about Pereira moving up. He's asked about Pereira moving up to heavyweight, and I thought that was worthy to include in this video because Ankalaev just got booked. And the first question that Iole asked, which I'm about to show you here, is Pereira Ankalaev next? And Dana kind of plays coy, and then he talks about Pereira's prospects in the heavyweight division. Let's take a listen.
Potential for co-main event for New York.
I don't know yet. We were just talking about how crazy the heavyweight division is. And I know, listen, everybody this guy's a killer. Everybody loves him. To think about him moving up to heavyweight when you talk about guys like, Cyril Gahn, Aspinall, Volkov. I mean, these guys are monsters.
So he throws cold water on Pereira moving up to heavyweight. So what's really going on with Pereira? Ankalaev is now booked for UFC 308 in Abu Dhabi, which I still got to do a reaction. They dropped that news earlier today. I still got to do a video on that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. That'll be coming out soon. But he's like, yeah, I don't know. These guys at heavyweight are monsters, which I don't personally want to see Pereira go up right now either. But what's the real reason why Pereira Ankalaev isn't happening? And then he talks about it a little bit more. I'm going to skip ahead. And he talks about it just a little bit more.
Alex is a savage. Let Alex do what he's doing in his division. And you know what? If he wipes out the entire division and we're sitting here going, who's next? Then maybe you let him move up to heavyweight and do some type of super fight there.
So he kind of throws cold water on Pereira moving to heavyweight. So the real question is, what's going on with Pereira? Because Ankalaev is the only guy who deserves a title shot right now, and he's now booked. My guess is Pereira asked for some time off. This is my best guess. Pereira says he's not going to fight till next year. Ankalaev wants to stay active. He fought in January. So he said, look, just put me on the Abu Dhabi card. I'll fight anyone. He's now fighting Alexander Rakic. He's confident in his abilities. He doesn't want to sit out and wait and, wait around and not fight and then not end up getting the fight anyway. So he's going to fight Rakic and then hopefully be #1 contender. The other possible scenario, and this is crazy, but it could happen, Dana and the UFC could be planning for, if Jones and Stipe fight, regardless of who wins, if they both retire. I think if Jones loses, I think there will be another fight between those two. I think there will be a rematch. But if Jones wins and they both retire, Tom Aspinall is going to need a contender. Do they just give Pereira the opportunity to fight for that third belt and book Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira early 2025? That is also a possibility. That could happen. So we'll have to see. I personally want to see Pereira Ankalaev. I'm super disappointed that's not going to happen. I thought it was going to happen the end of this year. We don't know what the 307 main event's going to be now in Salt Lake City. That's kind of up in the air. There's really nobody available outside of Pereira. The other thing they could do, this will be a wild card, but they could do Pereira versus Jan. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. But again, I mean, Jan did get robbed. So maybe they kind of use that angle. Well, Jan thought he was robbed. But that's crazy if they do that. That's crazy if they do that, considering Jan hasn't won a fight since. I mean, I don't think he's fought since. Now, I'm going off the top of my head here. I don't think he's fought since. But overall, amazing interview by Kevin Iole. Great pushback by Kevin Iole. Dana White with his typical pound-for-pound ranking for Jon Jones. You don't know what you're talking about. You hate him if you don't rank him #1 pound-for-pound. I have to applaud Kevin Iole. Make sure to go check out the full interview. I'm probably going to do another video about Bilal Muhammad because Dana White's asked about Bilal. He's asked about the whole flag situation, so there's a lot of other things that I can cover. But amazing interview. Dana White was brutally confronted and actually faced some pushback from MMA media, which was an absolute delight to see. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.